two. He's special, I guess. Yeah, special. They don't want to know what I have to say. Mics are on. 3-second delay. Yeah, make yourself at home.
Thanks. You ready, Freddie?
3 minutes.
Huh?
3 minutes.
3 minutes? What do you need from me in 3 minutes?
Huh?
What do you need from me in the next 3 minutes? You probably got it all down. Here's your kicker.
Okay. Sounds good. We might get done faster. We got a long day.
We need to settle that before we all leave too. Because there's people that haven't responded.
What now?
People that haven't responded.
Yeah, I saw she hadn't responded. He said he would do it.
If you're just coming in, could you please make sure you sign in?
And if you get a little close, you can stand up here.
I don't know who these people are.
Yes, you do. Everybody's going to count. Sonic Launch. Incredible. The company be awarded to get.
Because
I'd love to have kids with this.
Used to be Then we got to
No,
where we
but this
were.
kind of detail.
Does she do anything on the side?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still got 2 more years. My sentence is up in 2 years.
That's it. Okay.
Now there's 5 seats. Chad and
Call this meeting to order. Please join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Brad,
Yes.
Jill,
Yes.
Jane, yes, Chad,
Yes.
Desha, yes, Steve,
Yes.
Ron.
Yes. Okay, we have a lot of visitors tonight, so we'd like to start by recognizing some of them. First, we're pleased that you're all here tonight. Mr. Johnson, I'll let you take the first one.
Absolutely. I would echo the fact that it's neat to have you here. Okay, it's the first board meeting that I've had any students attend, I believe, since I've been here. And that's what this is all about. So thanks for being here. Not to mention some big kids in the back too, that we appreciate you as well. So we'll start with them. Mr. Elliser, would you like to introduce some gentlemen from the back, and maybe they can express to everybody, or you can express to everybody, why they are here tonight. It's a rather unique situation for us.
I don't know all their names off the top of my head. I've met Andy Evans and Randy, and this is Nicholas and Matthew. They're with the Watson Masons, and they're here to give us a check for the unpaid lunch accounts. So all the outstanding lunch accounts that we have, which is a considerable amount right now. So much appreciated.
Absolutely. And when Ryan came to me and told me this, I said, fine, I'll come to the board meeting. Okay, we've got to recognize them because I don't know if people understand, we're talking about probably close to $10,000. All right, because there's a lot of needs there in this community, and sometimes it's unfortunate that some of those don't get paid. So thank you very much. Absolutely.
Bring him up here, take a picture.
Robin says, come here if you don't mind. Maybe, well, Greg can probably give us one. Can you give us some pictures of,
And
you're awesome.
can you get
Thank
Ryan
you.
in there? Yeah. I'm just gonna move
Get
aside.
that, get somebody on the board.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Why don't a couple of you board members jump in the picture too, if you don't mind?
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, man. Good to see you. Absolutely. Jump in there, Andy.
I suppose in the back, we get back here.
Can you stand up and invite her?
I got Robin.
Two, and one more because your work happening. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Blow it up.
Yeah, we'll make sure it's ready.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Sapp, the media, we have a press release that they've put together for us, so we will get that to you after the meeting or tomorrow morning. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks again.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
Appreciate it very much.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Shake your hand.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you again.
Yeah. All right, now we're ready to honor a lot of students from Effingham High School. I think Mr. Roberts is going to take the lead on that.
Okay. Hope that all the coaches, because I don't have all their names memorized, but I think they are. We'll start with girls tennis. And we had a very successful season. It started out with a lot of coaches. And so that seemed to work out really well for us and ended up with some qualifiers for state. And I'll let you introduce everybody or let them introduce themselves.
Well, we just actually. It's just me. Our partner, Shelby's partner, wasn't unable to be here tonight because they have family from out of town. So, but Ayla qualified for state for her second year in a row, and Izzy won't be also qualified. So they went to state in doubles. And we just had an incredible year, and we seem to think that that's going to happen next year for us as well. But upcoming new athletes, so it was a great year and a blessing to coach the girls. So.
Great.
And I'll just say, I think most of you, and I'm not going to go into it, it was actually a very successful season, one that started out a little chaotic. I will tell you, a lot of really good people pulled together 4 kids and really salvaged the season for them. So a great opportunity there. So next we'll have Jen Kirk. Are you hiding?
I'm hiding.
All right, well, tell us about a very successful cross-country season.
Well, we made history this year and we won regionals. So,
So, if you don't mind, so just so you know, in cross-country, you can qualify for things as individuals and you qualify for things as teams. They qualified for their first time as a team.
As a team.
Yeah.
Yep, all of us. I only had 9, so quantity really doesn't matter. It's the quality of girls that we have. And so we won regionals, and then that obviously took us to sectionals. And we were the closest we've ever been. They take the top 7 to state, and we finished 8th. So it was so close. And with cross country, it's kind of like golf. You never know how you're going to perform. You don't know what anybody else is going to bring, to the course. And some days you have good days, some days you have bad days. And we really brought our A game at sectionals, but it just wasn't enough to make it. However, Jessica Larson here, made it to state. She qualified and, for her second year in a row. She's a sophomore this year, so we're looking forward to, having all the girls next year make it and go with her again next year. Jessica finished 67 out of 235, I believe, this year. The conditions were not good. It rained and poured down rain the entire time. So time-wise wasn't that great, but it was the place that mattered, and she improved her place from last year. So it was a great year for these girls.
Do you mind having them introduce themselves?
Okay. I think I was Gracie. Just call her Morgan Springer.
All right, great job, girls.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got the golf chips.
We need the girls. Girls go
Come
up
up
to
front.
announcers.
Can we come?
I say they come through here and shake your hand.
Should they come up front today?
Now I got it. Oh,
Can-
you're gonna look awesome.
Huh? Hang on, hold on one second. We've got some more, we've got some more student
Teams.
stuff to go, correct?
Yeah.
When we're finished, I would like for all of you to circle up here and our board to shake your hand. Thank you for coming. Thank you for what you're doing. And honestly, we would like a picture, Greg, if you don't mind, we'd like the pictures from up here. So we'll take that one again. Sorry. Let's stay seated where you're at, and then tennis and everybody else, okay? Finish up with all of them before we do that, though, if
All
you
right,
don't mind.
next we're gonna move to girls golf. All right, so Jerry Trigg, coach for girls golf, tell you about that season, tell you about the girls.
Okay. We advanced to the state for the second time in the school history, actually the second time in 4 years. We had one two-timer. Anna Herzl was on the team twice. I guess I'm the two-timer also. Miles away.
I wasn't Archie.
I was totally surprised that we made it to sectional. Actually, I expected to make it to sectional. Getting to state was a little more questionable. Like Jen said, you just never know how you're gonna do when you get there. And it's not all about playing your best, it's playing better than your opponent. And that's what we did that day. Mattoon, we hadn't beaten all year, and we beat them by 10 that day to advance to state. So I was very proud of the girls for hanging in there, because it was a struggle. But everyone struggled that day, and it was just a tough course that day. So you just never know. So we hung in there and made it again. And, so you want to start, just recognize yourself, Ella?
I'm Ella Nieberty, Anna Herzl, Marissa Alley, Laura Kirk, Emily Vincent, Ella Tooman, Grace Harper,
Natalie Armstrong was not here, and Elena Nieberty. And they'll both be back next year, and we'll try to see you again next year at the same time.
Okay, so we do have one of our boys golfers qualified for sectional this year. That's Colby Haynes. As coach wasn't able to be here, I'm gonna tell you I'm not a golfer. Do you want to tell me anything about your season or how great you are?
This is my fourth from last year, my senior, so this is the first year that I made it to sectionals, so it was pretty exciting.
What'd you shoot?
Not the greatest, but
Good enough.
Nobody in here knows. What did you shoot?
experience.
72? Thank you.
I don't know how you want to do that. I think that's it for our sports groups. If you want to, there, I've got one more student to recognize, but it's not for sports. It's different. So I don't know where you guys.
Let's go ahead with all the students, and then we'll take some pictures. That way you don't have to stay around for the things that you don't want to listen to.
Okay.
It's being straight.
So our next is recognizing a student, and then we have one of our teachers. And unfortunately, neither one of them are here this evening, but I would like to speak about them, if that's okay with everybody.
Absolutely.
All right, so first I would like to recognize, and it's a little out of order, but that's okay. I would like to recognize Mr. Obi Farmer. So the Effingham Chamber of Commerce every year recognizes a group of top community leaders under the age of 40 as a way to celebrate young leaders in our community. This year, Effingham Unit 40 employee Obi Farmer was recognized. Obi is a PE and driver's ed instructor at Effingham High School. He is the varsity basketball coach and assistant football coach. Since becoming the head basketball coach, Obi has made it part of his program to connect and give back to the community. He sees it as his responsibility to set that example for his players and students as well. To that end, he has developed some youth basketball events and programs that connects his players with younger kids in the community. He has also put together a trunk or treat that utilizes Effingham basketball players and cheerleaders to provide a safe and fun trick or treat experience for all kids. Some of you have actually probably been involved in that. We look forward to seeing other ways that we will continue to bring the idea of community service to our area. So ladies and gentlemen, let's congratulate Obi Farmer for that. I will also say that the Effingham Chamber of Commerce also started a couple of years ago recognizing a group of up-and-coming leaders from the Effingham area. And the qualifications for that, you have to be at least 16 years old in one of the area high schools. This year, Rosie Markham, a senior at Effingham High School, was recognized as an up-and-coming leader of the area. Rosie is the daughter of Chad and Michelle Markham. She is a caring, intelligent, conscientious, adventurous, dependable young woman. Rosie is a top scholar, and she is a member of our drama club, the marching band, flag team, and winter guard team. She is part of the CEO program and a member of the National Honor Society, where she has proved community service through working with Blessing in a Backpack and the Salvation Army. She has also taken many opportunities to volunteer in charitable and service-related community activities that include serving Christmas and Thanksgiving meals and working to deliver Christmas wish gifts. On a personal note, I would say that the qualities that truly makes her an up-and-coming leader is something I observe in her at school every day. She has a smile for everyone and continually works at encouraging others and making everyone feel included and valued. Ladies and gentlemen, Rosie Markham.
That concludes them, so why don't we start with cross-country, slide over to tennis, golf, and golf. If you'll come up here real quick. First of all, come through and shake the board members' hands if you don't mind.
Congratulations.
They probably don't get to see you up close like this very often.
Congratulations.
Great job.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Great season, brother.
Congratulations.
Good work.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Good job.
Congratulations.
Good job. Thank you. Good job. Back up this way, ladies. Back up into this circle.
Remember, if I can't see you. There you go. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. Thanks for coming tonight, girls.
Congratulations.
What, actually, get Coach Trigg first. Jump in the picture here with her. I'm sorry, what am I thinking? All right, Jerry, get ready, sorry.
Gary's back.
Hey, get them mixed up, sorry.
There you go. Wow.
You're just on deck.
Let's go, boys golf. Boys golf. You want to take a picture? You take a picture with him? You're a golfer. Jerry, congratulations, sir. Who would you like to take a picture with?
How about Kurt?
Andy Johnson. Andy Johnson, superintendent.
Andy Johnson.
Kurt.
In the picture?
Yeah. Oh, we can throw that out there too, then.
Yeah.
You're in before.
So I know nothing about golf.
He said smile for the picture.
You look like you do, Kurt.
Fake it till you make it.
Hey, before he goes, hold on one second. Before he goes, share with us about the track.
Colby's also one of our top trap shooters and has been for the last 2 years.
Since he's here tonight. Thanks, Colby.
Golfers?
Golfers.
And he's the guy to go to. Congratulations. Still working? Yeah. If you're needing real king, find
Congratulations. Thank you.
Congratulations.
For doing what you do. Thanks for coming tonight. Thank you. Good job this year.
Great go.
$8,500 total. There's only 2,000 here. There's 6,500 more coming on Wednesday. So then they'll have.
Yeah, you gotta get in.
Come on, Coach.
Come on, Coach.
I just hauled the water and drove the bus.
And you taught them a lot. So, get in there.
Girls know how to take pictures. Yeah, they don't even have to say anything, they just immediately get in the pose.
They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Marty might be watching.
Sorry.
That was wonderful.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Jerry. Thanks, ladies. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Dave was great helping us out.
Okay. He took him up there. Yep. Okay. Thanks.
Thanks, Jerry.
Thank you. Thank you, Jerry.
Thanks, Jerry.
You know how hard it is to get to state.
That's great.
Next is a presentation from Taylor. Emily, CEO presentation.
Okay, next, we're going to have a presentation from Taylor Green and Emily Vincent to the board about an upcoming CEO project.
Are we good to stand here?
You go wherever you want.
Well, if you come up by the
Oh, yeah.
microphone, then that goes over the airwaves. People at home can hear.
Forgot about that, sorry.
Sit or stand? Just-
Wherever you're comfortable.
Okay, I'll just stand. Okay, so like they said, I'm Taylor Green and this is Emily Vincent. And we are part of Effingham County CEO. CEO every year has a class business that we do, and this year we have decided to host the magic show at the Effingham Performance Center. We have hired the 2021 Canadian Entertainer of the Year, Mike Druzo, to give a one-of-a-kind performance. He does mind control, illusions, and he also does some comedy with that as well.
Tickets can be found at Ticketmaster.com or by calling the EPC box office. They range from $55, $40, and $25. And not only do we support the upcoming CEO class, but 20% of our profit goes to community support systems, which they help individuals with disabilities.
Yes, so we just wanted to make the ask for anybody who would like to go. We are wanting to invite everyone in the community to make this a community event and just bring a lot of spotlight to the CEO class as it is part of the school district. So if any of you would like to buy a ticket, you guys can email the email
magicofceo@gmail.com.
What is it again?
magicofceo@gmail.com. It's all lowercase.
Magic of CEO.
Yes.
When is the show? February 4th.
How do we nominate people for the mind control part? I have a son.
But yeah, so we just wanted to speak about that to let everybody know. So thank you.
They're working very hard.
Good job, ladies. Thank you for being here tonight. Thanks for what you're doing. We appreciate you.
All
And if
right.
you go directly to the EPC, you save the fees. If
Okay.
you go to Ticketmaster, there's
A fee.
Fee in it.
Oh, that's good.
Yes.
Oh, that's good.
Magic of CEO what?
At gmail.com.
Okay.
All right, now, do we have any other visitors that would like to address the board this evening? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on then to the financial report.
Okay, and I will state that, as I've shared with the board, Mr. Woodruff provides this information for me now because he's in as an interim business official and he's doing a great job for us, by the way, if you see him, so tell him that. I would like to ask basically for you to Reimburse the impressed account in the amount of $1,812.02, and the payment of bills in the amount of $848,883.03. Do you want me to read through any of the other financial? That's probably good enough for
Does
today.
anyone have any questions for, excuse me, Mr. Johnson about the financial report? Okay, seeing none, then I will entertain a motion and a second to approve the financial report to reimburse the Empress account in the amount of $1,812.02 and the payment of bills in the amount of $848,883.03.
Motion.
Motion by Steve,
Second?
second by Chad. Roll call.
Jill?
Yes.
Jane, yes. Chad?
Yes.
Tricia? Yes. Steve?
Yes.
Robin?
Yes.
Brad?
Yes.
Excuse me, got a frog in my throat. Next, we have the consent agenda. We have minutes enclosed. We have the cafeteria report, no student teachers. We have a few fundraisers. I thought I would read those. I think people sometimes listen to see what fundraisers are coming next. The first is the EJHS cheerleading. Each cheerleader will be given a blank calendar. They will ask family and friends to pick a date that coordinates with the dollar amount they would like to donate. They will draw a winning date at the January 5th game, and the winner will receive a small gift, and that is to raise money for the program with the hopes of going to competition next year and getting new palms. And that is December 1st to January 5th. Second, the EHS National Honor Society. The event is Large Chocolate Lovers Bars. This sounds like an event for me. Okay, that is to raise money for scholarships and runs from January 9th to the 23rd. Central School is running their American Heart Association activity to raise money for the Heart Association and their PE program. Students earn rewards based on meeting fundraising goals, and that's from January 23rd to February 3rd. Next is the EHS Boys Track Team. They're collecting pledges for a certain distance run during practice, similar to a walk-a-thon event. That is to raise money for the Boys Track program from February 13th to March 3rd. And last, the EHS Girls Track Team paid a spike, someone's spiking insurance, team fundraiser to assist with equipment awards, team meals, et cetera. And that will run from March 1st to March 31st. And those are the fundraiser applications. We have no field trips. We have an approval to post for public review policy updates and changes. We have an approval of revised salary and benefit statements for transportation director, maintenance director, food service director, and the district's 2 school nurses. We have the approval of the interim assistant superintendent's employment agreement and the approval of Aero Pest Control contract. Does anyone have any questions or comments on any of the consent agenda items? Okay, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda.
Motion.
Motion by Brad,
Second.
second by Jane. Roll call.
Jane? Yes. Chad?
Yes.
Tricia?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Robin?
Yes.
Brad?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, next we have correspondence. First, this is from the family of Lois Jean McNelly. Effingham Unit 40 family, thank you so much for thinking of me and my family at the time of my mom's passing. We appreciate the beautiful ficus plant that you sent to the funeral. She enjoyed gardening and loved having plants throughout her home, so the ficus plant will be a wonderful way to remember her. I'm grateful for your thoughts and prayers during this difficult time. Love, Darlene and Joe Fothery and family. Next, we have a thank you from Southside. Thanks for the ham gift certificates. I'm certain they will be enjoyed throughout the holiday season. And it's signed with messages from everyone at Southside. And the staff, from the staff at Eastside Preschool and the Early Learning Center. Thank you so much for providing each of us with a ham to enjoy this holiday season. We are grateful for your generosity and support. May each of you enjoy a holiday season full of fun and cheer. With appreciation, the staff of Eastside and the Early Learning Center. And that's the correspondence that we have. Next is superintendent's report.
Unit 40 Foundation report, we didn't have one for this month. Total enrollment is 2,367, which is 13 less students from the previous month. Nothing under information. The FOIA request, we had one. It was from Smart Procure again, basically a commercial FOIA request. Mr. Woodruff is handling that as well for me. I appreciate that. Not that we get a lot, but he's on top of it. So we've sent a response back. We did not have to send them everything that they asked for because of the manner in which they asked for it, but we've honored their request, and I do believe they've already accounted back to us that we gave them everything that we could. That's it.
All right. Moving on to new business then. Next, we have a discussion of the EHS fee structure, dual credit costs. Mr. Roberts and Mrs. Raddatz.
You want to sit or stand?
I don't care.
Okay. All right, so just to kind of give you a background, one of the things that we talked about students and fees, and we're noticing the high cost it is for a family who has a student that is taking dual credit classes. And so we started digging into that a little deeper, and we'll talk a little bit about it. You can see there's an example of this in the package that you guys got, and what was sent to you. But just to give you a little bit of background and put it out there, and this is directly from what we have from you. And keep in mind, these are estimated because these costs are going to change based on how many students are in classes, so it changes every year, but we're doing our best to give you a good estimate. So the estimated yearly cost to the district for dual credit courses is $44,000. That's how much Lakeland would charge us. All right, do you understand that? And so far, up to this point, families have pretty much paid the bulk of that, if not almost the complete expense of that money. So we've asked the families to cover that cost. And so what we're proposing here is that we work something out where the district is assuming more of that cost for our families. And so something to keep in mind too with that is that at this point with that program, Lakeland's providing those textbooks. So we're not having to purchase any textbooks for any of those classes. So there's a savings to us from the beginning. Just to give you, again, some background, dual credit fees range from anywhere from $36 to $185 per course, depending on what the course is and how many credits it's worth. And so with that, I'll draw your attention to the example that we have here, and you can kind of look through this. And I do want to point out, this is a real student. Of course, we removed the name. This isn't something we put together. This is a real bill that went out to a student. And I'll just tell you, the cost was $823 to that family to be in all of those dual classes and what other fees that are out there. And we're going to show you a little bit of comparison down the road. But you can kind of look at that and see where those costs are coming from. So essentially what we're proposing again is that the district assume a greater portion of that cost, and so we can pass some of that savings on to our families. So we spoke with Mr. Johnson about this, Ms. Raddatz and I did, and so we've come up with an idea of being able to basically call, and other schools, we've talked to other schools, there's some other schools that do this, and it's just a dual credit fee. So if you take any dual credit class at all, you have a dual credit fee, whether that be one class or two classes, three classes. And right now we're proposing that would be a $25 per semester fee. So if you have a dual credit class in the fall and one in the spring, it's $25 for each semester, so for a total of $50. Again, it wouldn't matter how many dual credit classes that you took. And so with that, and just, well, I'll just put it out there right now, then if you guys have got some questions, I guess you could look at, we kind of amended that bill a little bit and then to come back and put those fees in there. So that original bill, which was $823, taking the exact same classes would be $256 to that family. So that would be quite a bit of savings to families to be able to put that out there. So we're putting this out there at this point because we know there's probably some questions along those lines or some thoughts. But we wanted to get this out there early before we ever got to that point where we're approving fees for next year. Didn't want to put all of this on you at that particular time. Do you guys have any questions for us or anything that you would like to add to that?
Just as I'm working with students and families, I feel like some of their decisions are being made by the cost of classes. And so that's why making a dual credit program fee doesn't deter the number of classes or what they choose to take, especially since we're providing them on campus with our own employees. We want to encourage them to stay at the high school. We want to encourage them to take the classes they need in order to be successful and get what they need for college. So we feel like this maybe makes it more affordable for families and families who are struggling to kind of pay everything else right now. As we've added more classes, it just has raised the cost of those fees over the years. so.
I should say that, and one of your questions are gonna be, what are other schools doing, right? Because that's just kind of a natural question. So it's kind of all over the place, to be quite honest with you. Some schools cover the cost completely, right? So the students don't pay anything extra for a dual credit fee. Other schools do exactly what we're proposing is they do a dual credit program fee. Some schools continue to pay exactly, they charge exactly like we have been doing. They charge exactly what Lakeland charges in the district. And really it's kind of a through program then. So there's really no cost to the district at that point because that's all passed on to the family. So again, a little all over the place. And I know that you've spoken to the program.
Yeah, I will say that we probably have the most dual credit options of most people in the area. So that just raises, like based on the number of classes kids take, it just raises their fees so much more than maybe at a school that only offers math classes or English classes. So, we offer math, we offer English, social studies, all of our shop classes, a lot of those are dual credit. We offer business classes, so students can get a lot of college credit in high school, but they're not college students. They really shouldn't be paying college tuition yet, in my opinion, high college tuition for what they're getting in high school. Because they may qualify for financial aid, scholarships, things like that, they can help offset that. So that's just, that just is kind of where I've come from over the years and working with students, working with the dual credit fees and the bills, and they're all complicated, but.
And they're all different, it looks like. I do have a question, and this wouldn't change my mind on how we would decide my decision, but I'm curious, does Lakeland charge us the same amount as if it were a freshman coming in and taking it on their campus?
They don't, They charge a dual credit fee, so it's considerably less than what they would take as if they went in as a freshman and take it on campus, yeah.
We're not really doing the work to educate the students. We're
Yeah.
doing the work, but they're charging us.
Yeah, I think it's
Okay.
only like $18.45 per credit hour that they charge us, where if you go on campus, you're paying considerably more than that. I don't have the exact dollar amount.
And
but
just keep in mind,
about
that's
$4,000
not
a year.
$18.45 per class, because each class is multiple credit hours. So
Right.
depending on, we have some classes that may, be up to 10 credit
Yeah, a
hours
3 credit
or
hour
5
class is gonna
credit
be about
hours.
$50, so college algebra is gonna cost us about $50 they're gonna charge us per student.
Currently, are there families or students that would not enroll in the dual credit class strictly due to the fees?
I would say potentially, like our
So it's kinda hard to
manufacturing, our manufacturing
Yeah.
cost is about $300 for them to take that class. I think that could deter students from taking that class, yes. Or if you're a junior and you need your third year of math, the only option is a dual credit class, essentially. So like, I feel like because this is what the kids need, that next level, I do feel like it does deter some students, or the number of classes, history, business.
I think that's probably where you see more is that they start saying, well, I can't take this many because of the cost. But, so I'll take this one, or I'll kind of pick or choose. I mean, when you say that.
Yeah, and sometimes like students are signing up for classes, they're not really thinking about money.
Right.
I mean, a few of them are, but it's when those bills come in the mail that you're like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna pay that? That's probably when it hits, when it really hits, is that parent trying to pay. And sometimes it's the students paying for their own, of course. Now, free and reduced lunch students do get their fees waived for dual credit, and Lakeland waives them for us too. So those students that are most at risk, but obviously a $1,000 bill, for any family is pretty high.
So again, free and reduced, don't pay for it. And I'm not saying that they should. But I think our fees have risen because who's paying for it? So I think this brings back some equity to a position. And again, here's the other thing you gotta keep in mind. Okay, not that we're loaded with money, but remember the days of cutting 25 and 30 staff members, and probably some of these fees probably fed into that time. And maybe we'll get there again in 10 years or whatever again. I hope not. But I think we've assessed it, and I support this 100% because actually it was part of my decision in setting in there to say, we need to find a common ground and drop the prices. $850 for someone to go, that's semester of year.
That's for the year.
Okay, for the year, even for the year.
Mhm.
For free public education, I'm not comfortable with. So that's why the three of us, and I said to them, come back with a proposal, and here they are. So I appreciate what they've done, but I want our kids being successful, and I want them getting more. And I think this helps kids get more.
I'm also curious about a student that might be in a dual credit class, but they're not getting college credit. Does that that happens, right? Are they still paying dual credit? They're paying for the class, but then they may not get credit.
Yeah, Lakeland charges us, right now, Lakeland charges us a dual credit book fee because they bring the book for us, the textbook, the student has to rent the textbook. So Lakeland is still charging us, it's a lower amount, I think it's $12 per credit hour, so it's $36 that they charge us for a student, say a math student who didn't earn the ACT score that they needed to qualify for the math class. They would still be charged the $36, even though they're getting high school credit for it.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's just kind of the difference. And that gets complicated with testing and Lakeland's expectations versus ours.
So just basics of this. So why would you not get credit for a dual credit class, and why would you?
Sure. Lakeland just says that you have to show that you have college aptitude in order to take that. So like if you walked into Lakeland and wanted to take a math or an English class, you would have to make sure you tested into those classes to show that you have the college aptitude to take those classes. So they hold our.
What is the aptitude?
I think it's a 19 for English on the ACT, SAT 10, 30 maybe.
So you would have had to have that on your score when you took it your junior year?
Yes,
Is that what you're saying?
yes. Or you can test, they do a Lakeland assessment test that we also give. Yes, so they'll come to the high school, they'll give everybody the assessment test. The majority of our students test in. Sometimes your math kids aren't as high because they're testing younger. Because if you come in the highest level, then you've got to make that test score earlier. So it's just, our English kids almost always test in, our math kids a little bit stickier, especially because we moved away from testing over the years, where state colleges, it's optional to test, so we don't have as many kids testing as early, so.
Yeah, but I mean, doesn't that become complicated because now they don't have to test necessarily, so now you're just testing for the dual credit?
Correct. It is complicated, yes.
Yeah.
That's probably the least complicated thing. It is over the years, yeah, it's very complicated.
And keep in mind, all of our juniors are required to take the SAT even though it's optional.
Right.
But we would still, most of our students that would take the college level math and English would probably be taking another subject also. A lot of times they'll take business history, a manufacturing class, a welding class. So we feel like the $25 would still be a fair price to charge. It's still less than they would take for even one class at the non-dual credit fee rate. So we feel like it would still be equitable for those students as well.
Anything else for Kurt or Chad?
I'll just kind of leave you
Okay.
with that rate that we're proposing, essentially just, and again, these are estimates and it changes year to year, but you're estimating about the district taking on about 82% of the cost, and then about 18% of the cost to the families. So just, if those numbers matter to you, they mattered to me when I was doing this, so I thought I would share that with you.
Okay.
Any questions you have that you'd like us to look into, because I put it as a discussion tonight. I would like this to be an action item on the January board meeting, so they can move forward with scheduling for next year and the cost for
You
that.
have it as a,
What's that?
Is it an action item?
Oh, you can then if you want to. I did. Well, that was in case you desired to go ahead and do it.
okay, does
We can
anybody
do
have
it if you
any
want to.
other
It's on.
questions about this? Need any more information about it, or we ready to move on it?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, then I will entertain a motion and a second to approve the fee structure proposal that will reduce the cost to parents for students enrolling in dual credit classes, starting with the 23-24 school year.
Motion.
Motion by Jill,
Second.
second by Steve, roll call.
Chad,
Yes.
Jessica,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Robin.
Yes,
Brad,
Yes.
Jill,
Yes.
Jane, yes.
motion carries.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Saves you a trip.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, board.
Okay, next we have a security camera upgrade proposal. I see that's Brad and Robin. So- So at the technology committee meeting, we covered many different areas of upgrades that we're doing in the district. One of the most important, of course, is security cameras. And we're not going into a lot of detail here because, of course, we don't like to really give a lot of information about our security plan. But we do have several cameras that need replaced. They're old. We're also adding an additional server to house the data a little bit longer than we've kept it in the past. And we provided you with some specific information. I don't know if any of you have any thoughts or questions about that. It's something that we feel the district really needs to do.
Excuse me, the cameras we've trialed so that facial recognition, that kind of thing.
Yes,
We can
they're
zoom.
much better than what we have now.
Absolutely.
So upgrades, absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
It's an upgrade.
yes.
Great.
And we're,
Thanks
yes,
for doing that.
yes.
Yeah.
All right, anything else? All right, then I will entertain a motion and a second to approve the security camera upgrade proposal to not exceed $150,000.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Brad, I'll second it. Roll call?
Desha,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Robin,
Yes,
Brad,
Yes.
Jill,
Yes.
Jane, yes, Chad.
Yes.
motion carries. Okay, next we have an approval of a memorandum of understanding with the ECTA and the EESPA. I will entertain a motion and a second to approve the inflation bonus memorandum of understanding for distribution as soon as possible.
Motion.
Motion by Steve,
Second.
second by Jill, roll call?
Steve,
Yes.
Robin,
Yes.
Brad,
Yes.
Jill,
Yes.
Jane, yes, Chad.
Yes.
Desha.
Motion
Let me
carries.
make one comment before we go on. Those of you that are staff that maybe didn't hear this before now, you still didn't hear it. We'll talk about this tomorrow night. Media, if you want more information on this, I can give it to you tomorrow night. Okay?
All right.
It's a secret. Even though you can't keep things secret.
He can't quit talking, it would have been a secret.
We almost got past it.
I see people over there smiling and shaking their heads, is why I said it.
Okay, we're
So-
moving right on to a discussion and possible action on the EJHS dishwasher. All right, is Ryan still here? No.
He is not.
Okay. He believes it's time to replace the dish machine at the junior high. The current unit is 23 years old, beginning to need more attention. He's been watching it, kind of smelled some burning and actually saw the wiring wasn't good on it. So bottom line is we need to buy this. And initial quote on the machine is $39,143.22. He'd like to have it by this summer to install while we don't have students. Any questions, comments? All right, if not, I will entertain a motion and a second to approve the purchase of a new dishwasher machine for the EJHS building.
Motion.
Motion by Chad,
I'll second.
second by
Either one of them.
Jane. Roll
Robin,
call. Yes.
Brad,
Yes.
Jill,
Yes.
Jane, yes, Chad.
Yes.
Desha, yes, Steve.
Yes.
Okay, the next item, we're kind of flipping a couple items here on the agenda. We got them out of order. So instead, if you're following agenda, instead of doing E, we're flipping down to J. And we're going to have a presentation on the Unit 40 strategic plan created by community members, parents, teachers, secretaries, custodians, professionals, board members, and administrators. And we are honored this evening to have three of the participants here with us. So I will move out of the way and I will let them take charge here.
Well, first I want to say that it really makes you feel good knowing you follow the dishwasher.
That's why I had it later, because you wanted it after the dishwasher.
You don't know how much that dishwasher was.
That's right. So we took part in the strategic planning for the district. Mr. Johnson sent out emails asking us if we would be willing to participate. And having taught in the district for 23 years, I'm like, oh, another committee. But he sold me on it, and I will have to say that being in the group of people that we had, it was a breath of fresh air. Robin and I talked together, and the number of committees that we got on that we'd meet, and then we decided to meet to have another meeting. And then when it was all said and done, you just wasted time. And at no point in time did I ever feel this way with this committee. It felt like there was a, shall we say, a method of madness to what we were trying to do. So as you see on the slide, you see the number of people that took part in it. We met on 4 different nights. And there was 30 to 35 people each night. I think pretty much everybody at least made 3 meetings. There was a few scheduling conflicts, but for the most part, it was the same group that was there all the time. One of the really neat things about it was before any decisions were made, everybody had to agree to the decision. So it wasn't like you had, 50-49 votes all the time. It was unanimous before we could proceed. So that was kind of a cool part of the whole process. And just seeing how vested some people in the community were in the school district. We sometimes forget that as teachers, and I'm sure administrators feel the same way. And I know being a board member is probably not the old pat on the back every time you walk down the street type of thing. So to have this conversation with people in the community and see how vested they were in the district and how proud they were of this district was really refreshing because, from a teacher's perspective, a lot of times you don't get those phone calls, you get the other phone calls. So that was kind of nice.
And to just kind of piggyback on what he's saying, I think that's what makes this so very different regarding or compared to things that we've done in the past. This simply isn't just another school initiative. We know when our schools thrive, our community thrives. This was about bringing different various perspectives from the community. It gave a voice to parents, it gave a voice to business owners. It was really an investment of the entire community on how is this initiative, how does it look different? It's no longer going to be about words that end up on paper, on a shelf somewhere, or in a frame hung up on a wall. But it's really going to equate to how do we take these goals that are measurable and let's turn these into action so that this is something that is lived out every day for Unit 40 to truly become the premier district that everybody wants to be a part of. That's what got me excited. And as a teacher, we were listening to the students. It gave the students a voice on, she's going to graduate, but one of the things Taylor and I talked about was how does it make, you feel that you had a voice in really carving out a path for future students that are going to grace the walls of EHS and know that you had a difference in carving that path out on what it was to learn in our district. So I'm so proud to be a part of it.
That's really kind of the rundown of what we did. We looked at, our mission, our vision, the beliefs and goals that we wanted for the future. We got input from the community. We reviewed that. We looked at the district and its performance, school report cards, all kinds of pie charts and graphs that as a history teacher I should love to look at, but I don't. And then we just looked at, where do we want to go? Here's where we're at and where do we want to be? And I think one thing that's really important is, teaching the amount of time that I have, I've always seen where we get this is what we're going to do. And then there's a million butterflies and 4 squirrels and we're off in different directions and we never follow it. And I think that's what's really important about this is a plan that we can all work on together. It's not something that, teachers have to do this or administrators have to do this. It's a common set of goals that we can all work towards. And I think, if you get, like Labor said, it's a team effort and we work together on it. I think that's the method for success in this whole process. So these are what we came up with for our mission statement. It was engage, educate, and empower the heartbeat of our community. We spent an evening coming up with this. Seemed to be a lot of humor and a lot of interesting artwork and things on this one. We tried to incorporate the school, the idea of, the hearts into the process, and definitely the idea of community. One of the things that through the whole process, through the mission statement, through the slogan, through the vision, is yes, the students are important, the teachers are important, the bus drivers are important, the cafeteria workers are important, the administrators are important, and all of them are kind of, if we're not all on the same page, it's not going to be successful. And so we kind of tried to make sure we were taking everybody into account when we came up with the mission statement. Our slogan was really, how can we market market this idea.
Imagine it on a sweatshirt.
Yeah. And we came up with engage, educate, and empower Effingham. And then the vision statement was to ignite and nurture passion, to develop talent, and to create successful lifelong learners. And that's not just students, that's teachers as well. We've had, I think, 3 different vision statements since I've been at Effingham, and I don't remember any of them. And one of them I do remember, I just remember it was too long for me to ever think about trying to memorize it. So this is one that you want the people that work for your district to be able to say, hey, this is the mission of our district. And you want students to remember it too, and this we felt like was something that everybody could buy into and remember. So.
And I think ultimately, how do we create a culture that everybody wants to be a part of? At every teacher outliner, we want to do everything we can attract to do. How can we attract the best of the best? We want teachers seeking us out. We want students seeking us out. We ultimately want to truly be the best of the best. And what does that look like? And the community involvement, that's what ensures that this becomes successful. It's accountability, ultimately.
That's one of the documents that you'll vote on as a board for the plan, for the strategic plan. Obviously, that one we can skip. That's basically what we went through.
Okay, so, these you can pretty much read for yourself. Heavy emphasis on team. The second one I think is really important. This has kind of been one of my focuses as a teacher, is we respect individuals, their unique lives, passions, and talents. One of the things that we talked about a lot was empathy. Our kids are bringing things to the table at school that no teacher probably in the district right now was prepared for when they went to school at Eastern or other colleges. There's a lot of baggage. We have, with COVID and things like that, we had teachers that were struggling too. So each person that's involved in the district brings their own unique strengths, but they also have their own weaknesses that we need to be aware of when we're working with them. So I thought that was really a good point. We talked a little bit about communication. One of the things that we talked about with communication, and those of you who were there will refresh my memory, but we communicate in multiple ways, but really not any of them well.
They're not necessarily strategic.
There, that's a better way of putting it, yeah. So I think parents sometimes get confused as to where they need to go to get their information and things like that. So that's one of the things that we wanted to focus on. As always, celebrating achievements and victories, like tonight at this board meeting, celebrating the students and their academic and athletic achievements. And this is big, is being able to have discussions without it just going off the rails. To be able to celebrate our diversity, to exchange ideas, agreeing to disagree and move on, but just because having multiple opinions, that's when you come up with solutions, not when you just hear one side or just the other side. Safety, obviously, if you watch the news, that's obviously important, and we talked about that quite a bit. And then just teachers and students to be able to reach their potential through personal growth. And I think part of that probably plays into being able to retain staff as well in the long run. So, you guys have anything to add to that?
Absolutely.
Okay. Feel free to talk anytime.
You want back there? You good? You good there?
Yes.
Okay.
This
breaks it down into the categories.
Yeah, this just breaks it down in categories. We talked about facilities, kind of like where do we want to be in 5 years? And I think, I don't remember who said it, but if you're not growing, you're dying, and I think that's one of the things that as a district we have to look at is we've got to continue to try to find ways to grow. They don't have to be big ways, they can be little ways along the way. So that was kind of one of the things we looked at. Finances, this is where I kind of fell asleep because they started throwing numbers up, so I'm like, okay, I'm tapping out. So we're just gonna say that's on you guys.
We got it.
Safety, you know, and I have to admit, I mean, I think we are, in the last 2 or 3 years, I think we've done wonders as far as the security of our buildings, compared to where it was, 5 years ago. And I think we're on the right track. So we continue to look at that, and not just in the physical safety, but emotional safety for students as well. So communication, we kind of touched on that a little bit. Taylor, do you want to talk about achievement and curriculum? Because that's one of the things that you
felt passionate about.
Yeah. You can thank me later.
Okay, so for achievement and curriculum, we just kind of talked about like where we got like classes, like what kind of classes would kind of get you ready for the college, because we were talking about how I was kind of in this area where I took a bunch of classes, but I never actually felt like I was super ready to like go past like high school until I was in the CEO program. So we were kind of talking about more ways to find opportunities to do that type of stuff, to just get kids ready and do more hands-on type of things, like from a younger age all the way up. Like not obviously making them choose what they want to do in like junior high, but just giving them more opportunities to seek more interests that they might have, instead of just kind of like nailing it like very, can't think of the word, but like skimming it down to only certain classes that don't really cover a bunch of things that kids might be interested in. So like having more like technology type of classes, or with CEO, like that kind of covers all bases of business. So we have that one, but then you have like our welding classes. So we were just kind of talking about that just like we could bring those down, not just for high school students, but also like 8th grade, or even like maybe some in 5th grade, something like that, just so that way students have more opportunities to figure out what they want to do more in the future.
Very good. Technology?
I think technology is pretty self-explanatory. I mean, we just want to continue to be on the cutting edge of technology, not just in like everyday use, but in the creativity part of it as well. So, yeah.
So with that being said, if Taylor will go over and hit the play button, actually give me 1 second here to switch this back to. Oh, I'm missing volume, aren't we? I'll rewind it. I wonder if we have to turn these off. Nope, there we go. The concepts that foster student learning. These beliefs are the foundation of our new strategic plan that was created by a unique partnership with students, parents, teachers, support staff, community leaders, administrators, and board members.
Strategic plan is an opportunity to get the community organized and thinking about the future.
What was important for me as a school board member during the strategic planning process, and one of the main reasons we did that was to hear as many voices as we could from the community. As a parent, I was honored and excited to be asked to be part of the strategic planning process. It was business owners and parents and teachers and administrators and most importantly students.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of cool the way like we were cooperating with each other, because they're older, we're younger, and we get to put our ideas together. Sure.
I think student voice is really important just because it really gives people a new perspective on stuff, especially for how the times are changing,
Within a school that has a staff and students that are engaged and empowered, there's a sense of energy within the school. There is collaboration going on. There's conversation. There's active questioning. There is just an enthusiasm to learn and share and celebrate what's being accomplished in the classroom.
We want our buildings to be lively. We want them to be fun. We want everybody to be there.
I mean, that was kind of the conversation was all about community. How can school and
even those out in the community that don't have kids that are in the district, how we can come together and become one and really invest in the kids and teachers, staff, add that extra level of support.
Survey really looks good on the outside, so I'm hoping we can build on it on the inside so it relates to the outside also.
We believe these fundamental tenets are the key to innovation and can be used to inspire our students and staff to reach new heights. I'd like to invite you to join our team to help us engage, educate, and empower Effingham. That will air tomorrow, moving forward. And when I finish a couple things, I would like to open this up for questions if anybody has them. I will provide you two. I already provided you, but I can also get you the strategic plan that they will approve in electronic version if that helps you as well tomorrow. But the idea behind the video was this, and you board members that were involved in this, jump in with me. But the idea was, we're not done. This just started. And we're taking a big step and a big leap tonight when you approve the strategic plan that X number of hours by X number of people has gone on this semester, which in my opinion, the money that you put forward towards that is playing out very well for what took place to this point. It's exciting. If you'd have been in these rooms the night that it went on, you would have felt very good about where we're going. But the next step is another item that's on here that we're going to have to talk to at some point as well. So we felt probably a great time to do a video of something of this nature that was all built within. Mr. Fathery and lots of other pieces to the puzzle help build this for us to be able to display as early as tomorrow. So that will go out tomorrow, probably on Facebook. Will probably be the first spot that we'll send it. Questions about that process? Really, to be honest with you, I'd love you to ask those three, because that's why I had them here tonight, is I want their version of some of what went on, if you've got questions or thoughts.
So, go ahead. Sorry.
I just, one thing that Robin and I probably are thinking along the same lines. This was a really great experience for us as a community. When we were first elected to the board over 3 years ago, we went through a goal setting process with the board. The board set the goals. The board relayed that information to the superintendent. We are not really sure if we achieved those goals or not, but we did it. And there wasn't a lot of discussion on whether or not it would really work to set these goals. So it was really good to have everybody involved from top to bottom and all types of different people in different groups. So we as board members really appreciate all the time and effort that this group of people took on. The meetings were long. There were 4 of them and they were long and no one had to be here. We all did it by choice and they were really productive, and it's really exciting to be able to take these big bucket items. They're dream big items. I mean, we may not achieve everything on that list, but we have to at least try. And we're hoping that it's just not going to be in sheet protectors on a binder and sitting on the shelf. We hope that it becomes a living document that we can plow forward and see where we are in 5 years.
I love what you said, because I think, ultimately, again, I always want to highlight what makes us so different, but it's, diverse community perspectives that will be driving measurable change. That's a first. It's not just board members. It's not just students. It's not just administrators or teachers. It is our community of Effingham and very diverse perspectives within that community that are ultimately determining what those goals are, how do we measure them, and ultimately, how do we make sure that we attain those goals?
I think the other thing that I felt coming out of it is it didn't feel like it was going to be one of those in addition to. It felt like instead of, so it made me feel like, okay, a lot of this stuff that we just seem like we're doing just to be doing, we've got to focus now, and I think you get rid of some of the in addition to, and you're gonna get more of the instead because you're working towards a goal. You don't have everything that you're dealing with at the same time, so.
What do you see as the next biggest critical step in this process that the board can help support? Like you said, Mr. Hammer, you've seen these in the past. They don't necessarily take off. What can this board do to support?
I think one of the things I think the teachers need to convince other teachers. I think that's gonna be the first thing.
The buy-in.
Yeah, to get the buy-in. I think, to be honest, I think community is probably gonna be easier to buy in. But it's not that the teachers don't want to, it's just, we've heard this before, and to get them to understand this is different. So I think that's probably one of the bigger obstacles. I think they'll eventually come around, but I think that's probably one of the bigger obstacles.
Well, if you think of ideas that we can help with that, even if it's to have small groups and meet with certain faculty at buildings and things like that.
And I think that's, and I don't know, we didn't really talk too much about implementation, but I think that might be a direction to go, is to have like teams in each school.
And we're going to talk about that later this meeting, about what the next steps are.
Okay.
But that's exactly what we wanted out of step one,
Yeah.
is you to ask what's next.
What's next?
And
Because
how.
we have ideas, but now what do we do with those ideas? How do we take the next step and really make those not ideas sitting on a shelf? That's our goal.
And distractions like squirrels and butterflies. I like that.
That was good.
One thing that, coming out of this, the core values and beliefs, could someone maybe educate the rest of the group where those core values came from? Because, I mean, I don't know that it was just from our group. Wasn't it a survey?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There were the community survey.
The community survey determined.
We looked at the data from the community and some of the things that, you know, where we rank high, where we. The interesting part about it is, Dr. Bolz, he said, I've never had surveys where everything was so positive.
Positive, yes.
Which.
Never in a community, he said, have I ever had such positive survey
And
results.
he's done a bunch of them.
I thought that was.
And the number of surveys that we got back,
Yeah.
also, he was very impressed with the response rate. And the core values and beliefs, those were the top priorities of our community. We just didn't come up with the word team. Teamwork is important to our community, or to the response of those surveys. Respect is important to our community. Communication is important. Achievement is important. Those aren't buzzwords. Those are things that are of high value. And I would like to see, lessons with our students. What is teamwork? What is respect? What does that mean to you? And how can we get our littles believing in these things? Because they're really important, going on through life as lifelong learners.
This slide shows, and I brought it back up so you can see where obviously it hits the community survey and the community input on priorities. Obviously that came through the survey. The community stakeholder view of the community survey, we did go over that one evening, took quite a while. There's a lot of data there, development of reports and things of that nature. And we got into the SWOT analysis. So I think the other thing too, to add to that, is the culmination of this group wasn't just the members, okay? This entire board was involved in the people that were sitting in that room. The administration was involved in the people sitting there. This was a team effort across the board to make sure we're inviting people to this game, because that's always a big question. But who picked who? How come you picked them? Why'd you pick them instead of me? I get it. And you want to be careful about saying that, because we're not done yet. So if we come back to some of those that say, why didn't you pick me? You're now in. You just nominated yourself. So I think a lot of that's the uniqueness behind this. Was we did some surveys. I did some surveys with the board for, to pick, and we ranked people and stuff like this. We didn't just all of a sudden say, let's throw these people in the room. There was a lot of thought went into that, because especially from the community standpoint. Again, we had bankers, we had insurance people, we had law enforcement people, we really represented a lot of different entities in this community.
Our the director of our Chamber of Commerce
Was here.
was in our meetings,
Yep.
so.
But I think do you want to add what came out of it also that you got
Well,
some more work out of?
I have more work to do. So with this, marketing becomes a big aspect of it all. So there will be a marketing committee set forth. I'm going to be that leader of the committee until we find someone that is. That's until we find someone within that's on the payroll to take over for me. But yes, we have a lot of work to do, and I don't think that we can take lightly that Dr. Volz's team is an integral part of all of this. It was really good to have someone outside of the district lead us, and that will be further discussion with how we can use Dr. Volz's group to make sure that we implement and that we stay accountable to our goals, because there's no sense in setting goals if we can't be on an actual path to achieve those goals. So, implementation is next, and we do need some help with that as well.
Anything else?
Jeff, do you have something?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Thanks.
Anything else? Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Great job.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, I will entertain a motion and a second to approve the Unit 40 strategic plan.
Motion.
Motion by Chad,
Second.
second by Steve. Roll call.
Brad,
Yes.
Jill,
Yes.
Jane, yes, Chad,
Yes.
Tisha,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Robin.
Yes, motion carried. All right, now we're going back to approving a bid for asbestos removal for South Side renovation for summer 2023. We provided you with that information from, I guess we were provided this evening with information from Todd Taylor. Did you receive that? No. Okay,
On the asbestos?
on the asbestos removal?
I think it's in here.
Oh, wait, this is not asbestos, this is restaurant, sorry.
It's a $46,500 project that has to be carried out before the rest of the renovation to South Side.
It's
Okay.
on board book.
Okay,
I've got it
Right.
pulled up.
all right. Are there any questions or comments, concerns about the bid for asbestos removal for South Side?
No.
Nope. All right, then I will entertain a motion in a second to approve the contract for $46,500 from AAA Asbestos Removal and the contract/invoice with Ideal.
Motion.
Motion by Brad. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jill. Roll call.
Jill,
Yes.
Jane, yes, Chad,
Yes.
Tisha,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Robin,
Yes,
Brad.
Yes.
motion
And
carries.
And there were 3 bids. And this was the lowest of the 3 bids. So we
Yes.
did honor the lowest bid.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, next we are considering a request from the ECTA to change the teacher workday at Central School to become effective January 4th, 2023. The ECTA has requested a change of the teacher workday at Central School from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., which is what it is now, to 7:45 a.m. to 3:45 p.m. So it's being moved 15 minutes earlier, both to start and to leave for teachers. The rationale that they propose for that is because there are students there earlier than 8 o'clock, and they need to have more supervision. So if they're there, if the teachers are there earlier, that will provide better supervision for students as they arrive. Any questions or comments on that? All right, then I will entertain a motion and a second to approve the ECTA request to change the teacher workday at Central Elementary School from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. to 7:45 a.m. to 3:45 p.m. to become effective January 4th, 2023.
Motion.
Motion by Chad,
Second.
second by Steve. Roll call.
Jane, yes. Chad?
Yes.
Bishop?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Robin?
Yes.
Brad?
Yes.
Jill?
Yes.
All right, next we have quite a list of technology equipment purchases for FY24. For these purchases, we are utilizing a combination of funds from ESSER 3, Title I, and regular funding of technology resources from our budget. We have actually 3 items that we are looking at. The first is student laptop purchases and cases, $88,000 from ESSER 3. The student laptop life cycle approved by the board previously shows that we are due to purchase 200 devices for next year's 9th graders. We also discussed purchasing 420 protective carrying cases for 6th graders and 9th graders. The 6th graders will not be getting new laptops, but they will be getting new cases because we have learned that the cases have become a personal item, and for sanitary reasons, we are replacing them.
Sounds like a great idea.
So the first item in this technology equipment purchase listing is for 200 laptops for next year's 9th graders, and then new cases, 420 protective cases for 6th graders and 9th graders. The second item is for laptops for Southside teachers. This would be $36,000 from Title I because Southside is a Title I building. The current laptops being used were purchased in May of 2017, and we currently have no more backups. After the school year, laptops will have been in use for 6 years, reaching end of life. The third item is a desktop refresh. We started on that last summer when we purchased 162 desktops that were refreshed in the EHS computer labs 187 and 240, the EJHS STEM labs, and desktops of admin, office staff, cafe staff, and teachers at EJHS. That was past summer. We're looking now at a desktop refresh, $90,000 total, with $18,000 being paid from Title I because Southside is a Title I school, and the regular budget education fund likely paying for the other $72,000. So that would be phase 2 of our desktop upgrade, recommending that the board approve the purchase of 150 desktops. Most of those were originally purchased. Most of the 150 we are replacing were originally purchased in 2012 were upgraded in 2018. This upgrade would include desktops of administration, office staff, cafe staff, and teachers at EHS for a quantity of 95, and at the BOE a quantity of 22, and supply and maintenance quantity of 2, and the addition of desktops at Southside a quantity of 30. So those are the 3 items in our technology equipment purchases for FY24. Brad and I heard a lot of information about these items at the technology committee meeting, so we could perhaps fend any questions that you have about this. But most of this was on the scheduling that Emily had done already as far as refreshing on a timeline so much every year. So, any concerns or questions? All right, seeing none, then I will entertain a motion and a second to approve the purchase of technology equipment, student laptops for 9th graders and cases for 6th and 9th graders for FY24, laptops for Southside teachers, desktops for admin, office staff, cafe staff, teachers at EHS, BOE staff, supply maintenance staff, and Southside staff at a cost of $214,000.
Motion.
Motion by Brad. I'll second it.
Chad?
Yes.
Jessica?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Robin?
Yes.
Brad?
Yes.
Jill?
Yes.
Jane, yes.
All right, next we have approval to purchase a dual steamer for the Southside cafeteria. I'm not exactly sure what a dual steamer is, but I do know that Southside is the only kitchen in our district that does not have a tilt skillet, and there is no room for one in the footprint. So because they can't have a tilt skillet, we are trying to put a dual steamer in, because then we can cook vegetables that will be healthier, et cetera.
We have space issues.
Yes.
Probably if we're gonna really get into this, which down the road we might, we probably need to look at redesigning that cafeteria. But we really wanna make sure that we're gonna stay in that building for a long period of time before we would do a lot of that work. So in the meantime, unfortunately, we need things like this because they're broken.
Okay.
We're trying to spend as little as we can before we would make wholesale
Right.
changes.
All right, any other questions or comments about this?
I think this will take up less space than the one we have. We have maybe an L or something, but
Okay.
anyway.
I'll entertain a motion in a second to approve the purchase of a new dual steamer for Southside Cafeteria at a cost of $21,057.
Motion.
Motion by Desha,
Second.
second by Chad, roll call.
Jessica?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Robin?
Yes.
Brad?
Yes.
Jill?
Yes.
Jane, yes. Chad?
Yes.
All right, now we are going back to the approval of the EDLS Living the Strategic Plan proposal. And this is the next step from the strategic plan. Jill and Andy and I sat through a session with Dr. Volz and was it Dr. White?
Yes.
And heard about the next steps. We had talked briefly about this, but basically what they help us do is take the information that we have gleaned from the first stage of the process, and they help us create measurable goals in different specific areas. And these are worked on, these are created by district admin and so on, and then submitted to us for consideration, if I understood correctly. Jill, you want to jump in?
Yeah, I think the biggest takeaway is actually being able to write the goal so that it can be achieved, and then give it a timeline and a publishable, a document that can be published and placed on our website with checklists as we go, and so that it keeps us accountable to whether or not we actually worked on the goal. Are we partway through the goal, or have we achieved the goal? And so that the public can see where we are at any given time on our goals. The other thing is that they will encourage each goal to have a leader within the district, and that person will be responsible for coming up with the committees and ways to get buildings, administration, people that would be responsible for getting that goal in place, or a facilitator, basically. So that was, and they will be able to work with that goal leader to be responsible for it.
Right, and we talked about one of the important things to all three of us was that the people that worked on the first phase of the strategic plan, the people that came up with the ideas and so on, that it's important, because we sat, I mean, as Jill said, 3-hour meetings, 6 to 9 o'clock, 4 times. That was a lot of time for these people to come in, and a lot of discussion went on, and a lot of exchange of ideas, because by the time we ended every evening, we agreed on what we were going to put forth, and that we changed a lot. And so it was really important that the ideas that came out from that group of people was transferred into this next group of people, because to make these goals achievable and measurable and things that can be that we can take action on within our district, it's going to involve a lot. It's going to involve support from outside the district, but it's going to involve a lot of people inside the district. So we need to make sure that the people inside the district that weren't a part of that first plan get the ideas from those people. So we talked about in January, for instance, if we go ahead with this, it would be really important for those ideas to be shared. The people that were in the first group sharing with the people that are going on in the next group, and transferring on. So that was a really important point, I felt.
I think it just makes it, keeps us more accountable to the plan, and having someone hold our hand really to get it going. And then once we are in that phase, of course, they will phase out, but it will help really to make sure that we have a timeline in place to be able to get to the next level.
And I think all three of us agreed that this next phase was crucial for this document not to sit on a shelf. That if we just stopped right now, it would just probably, for the most part, sit on a shelf like a lot of other things that have been created over the years. Whereas if we went on with this next step, we actually made specific goals that were achievable and measurable, and would cover a multi-year plan of action, that then we would have a chance to really make some progress. So
Those would be data-driven. Could be a lot of data researched, and obviously that's where a lot of our, again, the administration, the teachers in their respective buildings and age groups would be brought into those conversations.
And we talked, there could be a need for more surveying too of the community.
Correct.
There were several of the goals that involved things that we felt we just needed to have more thought from the community about, different ideas. So there could be additional surveying going on too. So still a lot of additional steps could take us on down the road. So any questions or comments or?
Timeline would be pretty quick after Christmas.
Mhm.
Getting back with Dr. Volz and Dr. White, finding out for sure the layout of where we need to go, which we have some details here already. But again, I tried to, when we three met with them, tried to emphasize the importance of probably being done with lots of meetings and planning and stuff by the 1st of April. Because by the time you get to April, things change quite a bit in our educational world. When the sun comes out and the warmth comes in, we got lots and lots going on in the evenings with activities. So it would be nice to have that, be ahead of that. When we got the doom and gloom of winter setting on us, let's go make some excitement with the next step of this.
The general fee for completing this Living the Strategic Plan project and related analysis report is $8,100. The fee includes all time for preparation, travel, on-site meetings, and virtual meetings listed in the proposal. If additional meetings are requested by the district, EDLS will invoice the district $200 per additional hour in 15-minute increments. Additional expenses for travel would be invoiced to the district but will not exceed $500. Okay. All right. Seeing no other comments or questions, I will entertain a motion and a second to approve the EDLS Living the Strategic Plan proposal at a cost of $8,100, additional $200 per additional hour for needed work above the initial cost, and up to $500 additional expense for travel if needed.
Motion.
Second. Roll call.
Steve?
Yes.
Robin?
Yes.
Brad?
Yes.
Jill?
Yes.
Jane, yes. Chad?
Yes.
Tricia?
Yes. Motion carries. All right. And that's the last item in an open meeting. So I will entertain a motion and a second to enter into closed session for the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the district.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Jill, second by Chad. Roll call?
Robin?
Yes.
Brad?
Yes.
Jill?
Yes.
Jane, yes. Chad?
Yes.
Tisha?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, gotta stand up.
Thanks,